you need to clean up your attitude and your act, or you're going to jail.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. Today we have an insane story of this woman on Dr. Phil's show who is afraid because she might be going to jail soon for assaulting this elderly man that she was in charge of taking care of. She thinks her family is all against her, and this is all one big plot to tear her life down, but really she's just a vile, mean woman, and she's about to face the music right now on Dr. Phil's show. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and it's going to be a wild ride, so keep watching until the end. Anyways, let's get it.
These are the charges: the violation, inflicting injury on an elder adult.
So right away, I'm going to have Dr. Phil bring up this woman's charges just so you can see what she is possibly going to be going to jail for. And this again is all based on multiple assaults that she has had on this old man who I think is basically a family friend of theirs. And she has been his caretaker, which I don't know why she agreed to do this. She clearly is not in the right headspace to be taking care of someone. And you're an absolute despicable human if you have inflicted harm on an old person while you're supposed to be taking care of them. That is just the same as a child, in my opinion. This man is 89 years old. He's having a hard time, and on top of that, he has this absolute mean old drunk that is supposed to be taking care of him and basically squaring up with him like she's Mike Tyson in the ring pretty much every day.
No, Dr. Phil, it was an accident. I accidentally hurt his skin. I don't physically Harry. I picked him out of the chair, and it was an accident. I ripped his skin.
So her story of this whole event really does not line up with the guy's story. I'm not going to show his full explanation because I'm going to be honest, old people talk slow sometimes, and I'm not going to submit you guys to this story. But his recollection is that he said something, or he was on the phone with her mother and said something about this woman's sister who you are about to see she absolutely despises and is the root of a lot of her anger, because I think her sister honestly has it a lot more together than she does, and that is something that causes a lot of spite to be in her heart. But yeah, when he brought up this sister's name, this woman came storming into the room, turned his chair around, started scratching his arms, and ripped some skin off because he's old, and that's what happens to your paper thin old skin when you get scratched, and tried to rip him out of the chair, started hitting him. And when he tried to leave, she even kept him in the house and said, "Where are you going? It's not safe out there. Come back in here where you're safe, where I can easily beat you up without anyone seeing," basically is what she was trying to say.
And he says this isn't the only time that it's happened. It's happened a number of times, 4 or 5 times.
No, I took him to the hospital. He fell in the flower bed in March and May.
And another angle she's running with is, oh, he's an old person. He falls down all the time. No, he might be an old person, but he actually calls into Dr. Phil's show earlier on this segment, which again, I'm not going to show because it's kind of slow. And the reason he had to call in is because 1, he's old, and 2, he got a restraining order against this woman, so they can't even be in the same conversation. It's actually illegal. So that was Dr. Phil's workaround for that. And this guy was pretty well spoken. You could tell he's, a little bit old, but he's definitely still there. And he recounted multiple situations where this woman assaulted him. So it's her word against his. I'm gonna go with the old guy who isn't a mean old drunk. She's the liar in the situation, and she's gonna continue to lie this entire time. Very poorly, I might add. Like, a lot of times she doesn't even give reasons as to why it's a lie. She's just like, "Dr. Phil, that's not true." Like, seriously, it's not. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say there's a large chunk of you guys that watch my videos and aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying this one so far, make sure to drop a subscription and a like. Helps me out so much, and I really appreciate you watching this video. Anyways, let's get back into it.
I talked to him for several minutes before. That man doesn't have dementia. He was oriented as the person, place, time.
And Dr. Phil is backing up this guy too. Like, dude, you can tell when you talk to someone if they're off their rocker a little bit or not. If they're not all the way there, it's going to be pretty obvious. And this dude, even though he is old, is definitely still there. Definitely still, able to function cognitively. He just needs this caretaker because he's old. And instead, she's trying to use his age like, oh, he has dementia. He's making up stories. Why would this guy go out of his way to try to cause issues with his caretaker unless you were actually doing something malicious, okay? It just doesn't make any sense and doesn't look good for you.
But you seem to think they put him up to this.
I know when the officers came, he was just questioning me, and then I know the report is not correct completely.
And to be completely honest, I don't know if this woman's on something or maybe took a few sips before the show, but she is very bad at speaking right now. And throughout all of her clips, she is very hard to understand most of the times, kind of slurring her words. It just makes this whole thing look so trashy. And the hate she has for her sister is insane. She blames this whole situation on her sister and mother. Like I said, she thinks that they were in cahoots with Harry, and this is all one big conspiracy to send their daughter away to jail that they don't like. No, nobody is going out of their way to send their sister or daughter or family friend / caretaker to jail unless you are the one doing something to cause harm. None of it adds up at all based on the way that you are explaining it, lady.
You do think that your family is trying to sabotage you, your relationship with him, your inheritance, your life. Those are your words.
And you know, the really sad reality of this is this woman is actually extremely lucky to have this age and this stuff going on and still have a family member, her mother and her sister, who are really actively trying to get her help and trying to make her see the error of her ways. You know, so many people would have given up by now if you have a routine of just being this terrible person, which I'm guessing she has all the way into her 40s or however old she is. She might be 50 something at this point, probably. Throughout that long track record, they could have dropped her at any point, but no, you can tell they love her and they want the best for her. And that's why they didn't just also get a restraining order and, you know, help haul her off to jail. They're wanting her to get help, but instead she hates them and she's like, you guys just want to destroy my life. Like, you don't care. Like, for some reason, I'm the bad guy because I heard our family friend who's 89, but honestly, he was being annoying. And speaking of how much she hates her sister, the sister actually recounts a time where she saw her for the first time in, like, I don't know, 9 years at that point. You know, they're not very close, obviously. And in this first interaction, she said something that made the sister so aggravated that while the sister was sitting down, she just extended her legs and double kicked the sister in the stomach, knocking the wind out of her. And of course, this sister called the cops and is now trying to press charges for that situation as well. And it just goes to show this lady has a track record of reacting violently and not being able to control her emotions. It's insane. Literally, this lady is so angry, and a lot of the source of it is because she is drinking so often. They show off a few various voicemails, and I'm gonna let you guys hear a little snippet of one of them, but she sounds super sloppy on this, and the entire time she's screaming at her mother. You have to understand that. The mother that did nothing to her except want her to be a better person.
You don't love me, and I don't love you anymore, Mom. I'm not crazy. I'm mad. I'm disgusted. You guys are sick in the head. And you know what? I am not scared of you.
Talk about trashy. Imagine just having, you know, a new voicemail from your daughter every day and being disappointed knowing what you're about to hear is just some insanity and some loser rambling on at 3 a.m. to their phone angrily.
That sounds pretty angry.
Yeah, I was a little angry. I have messages too. I wasn't that thorough. Sorry, I should bring mine.
And she pulls the age-old excuse. I have evidence against them too. You know, I wasn't that thorough, but Dr. Phil, I have a couple voicemails that you might want to hear. Like, if you had evidence, you clearly would have used it. You got none. You look bad. And there are now multiple people saying the same story, that you have affected them negatively by being in their lives and that you need to turn something around before it's too late.
Did you kick her in the chest with both feet?
No, I did not. I go away from me.
I don't know what you were on that day, but you
I
were
would
out
go
of
away.
your
I
mind.
go away.
No,
Go get out because she was always in my face.
She might have felt something, Dr. Phil, but I used the force. Okay, I said go away from me and I extended my arms. I'm kind of like Darth Vader in that way, all right? I did not double kick her to the stomach. Even though my mother also, you know, was there and says that I did it and it's 2 against 1 and I am a routine liar that should not be trusted with the truth. I am the one saying the truthful statement right now, okay? I did not kick my sister. And every time this woman talks about her sister, you can see the deep-seated hatred she has for her. I don't know what this is. I've never had this dynamic with any of my family members, but a lot of it, I think, is the fact that this sister has her life together, has raised adult children at this point, and has had a, you know, successful life, whereas this woman is in her 50s or something, like I said, drinking her day away every day and starting fights with this old man that she has to hang out with because that's her job and she hates it. Like, don't be mad your life isn't where you want it to be and take it out on your family. That just makes you look like an even more hateful and mean person. She's really just a sad woman.
You would not be a good witness in your own behalf. You're not credible in some of the things that you're saying here.
And Dr. Phil pauses pretty much and tells this woman to her face, you are an avid liar and nothing you say is going to be truthful, or no one's going to take it as being truthful because you have this track record of lying. And there's good reason for it. I don't think she's told the truth one time on this stage so far.
Non-credible denials. I'm just trying to help you here.
Okay.
This is what I do, and I'm telling you.
And to take things even further, Dr. Phil goes over this long explanation of what is going to happen when this lady goes to court if she doesn't change things right away and get some desperate help, which her court hearings are coming up. You know, the systems move slowly, but this is still an active investigation. This guy has a restraining order against her now, so she can't see him to clear things up, and it's now in the court's hands. So unless they see some effort from her part, they're just going to pretty much have it be an open shut case, at least according to Dr. Phil's eyes. So he had a history of these types of cases before doing this show. He knows what he's talking about, all right? This lady is screwed unless she gets some desperate help. But luckily, in the end, Dr. Phil actually does offer her a route out of this. So let's just see that real quick and see if she's down to get the help she needs.
All of your, they'll just well your hands right behind your back and march your happy ass off to jail is exactly what they're going to do
But real quick, I just had to show you that clip too of him piping back to her because she's been showing the utmost attitude this entire time, while literally everyone else on stage is just trying to get her help. I don't get why she has such an issue with this, but really it's just projection and her being a mean person.
I will get you a teletherapist through Doctor On Demand, a company that we own and control, a board certified and licensed therapist.
So the big offer Dr. Phil has for this woman for her help today is this new program that he has called Doctor On Demand. He is offering her multiple televised sessions until she gets this sorted out with a board certified therapist, which is going to prove to be very helpful. That way, you know, she doesn't have to go to an office and do that stuff. Clearly it's a different time right now, and that's not as easy as it once was, especially when you're not motivated to get help and think that you're in the right, much like this lady is. But let's see if she's willing to take this.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to go to jail.
I would recommend that if you do that and a therapist says that you've made a concerted effort, then I would support these charges against you being dropped.
And she's actually showing some emotion here. She breaks down into tears, and you can see she is kind of seeing the error of her ways a little bit. I know it's hard to admit to yourself after you have this track record of being a terrible person that you actually are, because it's just a hard realization and a hard thing to swallow. But I'm glad that she's showing this emotion because it shows that Dr. Phil truly did get to her, at least just a tiny bit in this interview. And I think the fear of her not wanting to go to jail is going to be a thing that motivates her to get help as well.
Stop blaming everybody in your life and start owning who and where you are.
Okay.
Now, I will make that offer to you if you will take it.
Yes, I like that. Thank you very much. I would.
So thankfully, she accepts the help from Dr. Phil. She doesn't have to go to the ranch or anything serious like that. She just has to log on for a few Zoom therapist calls, and hopefully that will get the ball rolling and be a step in the right direction for this woman, because she desperately needs to get her life together, I say, as I just gorged down on like 10,000 calories yesterday. But let's forget about that. I got different problems besides her. Hers are a little bit more pressing right now. Anyways, that about does it for today's video. Let me know what you thought of this insane story and this incredibly mean woman down in the comments. I hope she's able to change her life around and look introspectively to see the problems that she's dealing with. But sometimes it's hard to be honest with yourself. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, peace out.